Hey everybody, this is Gokar Spartan. This is going to be my review for the last 4 episodes of Dunk and Egg. I originally made a review for the episode 1, but I didn't post it because I felt as though it was too early for me to really give an opinion on it, and I didn't necessarily. I kind of wanted to wait till it got a couple episodes in. So, if you haven't watched A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, I highly recommend, especially now that we're 4 episodes in, I highly recommend that you give Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. If you're looking for that old season 1 through 4 Game of Thrones kind of feeling, I think we got one, guys. I think we got one. Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, I'm going to say it's been a good ride so far. It started off a little bit shaky. I do warn you, if you are going to watch this show, wait at least 10 minutes before eating anything, because at the beginning of like the first 2 episodes, they have some quite. If you're eating, I felt very uncomfortable. That's all I'm going to say about the matter. Actually, I'm going to say more about the matter. I'm about to go over the episode. So if you haven't seen it, please go watch it, because henceforth it's going to be spoilers for the Knight of the Seven Kingdoms and the books as well. There's going to be some book spoilers in here too. So I initially, I walked into this without reading the books, but after watching the first 2 episodes, I went over all of the history that I needed to know about these characters. So I'm pretty up to date. I know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen to Egg, Dunk, and all that. But it starts with Sir Dunk. He's burying his knight, his master, Sir Alan of Pennytree, and Alan knighted him before he passed, apparently. We don't necessarily know if he truly knighted him or not, but Duncan is going around basically trying to become a knight, trying to make a name for himself. And the one thing he wants to do, he goes to Ashford for a tourney. Ashford is located in the Reach, the home of the Tyrells, Marjorie Olenna and them. Basically, he goes to Ashford and he wants to join the tourney. Nobody remembers like who he is, but prior to that, he met a young boy named Egg. He was in a tavern, and there was this Targaryen there. His name was Daron. He was kind of drunk. He says he saw Dunk in a dream. When the Targaryen says, "I seen you in my dreams," it's different, because Targaryens, they're like linked to some ancient prophecy. Like they be having entire genjutsus in their sleep. So now he meets Egg, and Egg's supposed to be squiring for Daron, but he ain't squiring for him because Daron is drunk. He don't really want to fight or do none of that. So Egg and Dunk, he wants to like squire for Dunk, and at first like Dunk pretty much lets the boy squire for him. And the first episode was kind of slow for me because there was no like. I'm used to Game of Thrones being centered around houses and factions and things like that. I'm used to seeing the Lannisters, the Starks, the Targaryens, the Velaryons, schemers like Littlefinger and Varys. I'm used to that. So this was a complete different lens. This is a look on the small folk. Basically a look on like the poor and the downtrodden in Westeros, essentially. Like, yeah, the royals are there, but this story, I would like this thing is from the lens of the poor people. So Dunk is in the tent. He meets 2 whores because he's still looking for a knight that'll vouch for him eventually. And the whores basically ask Dunk for some coin for the information. Now Dunk's a hedge knight. He doesn't necessarily have coin, so he can't really get him. So they kind of clown him a little bit and whatnot. Eventually he goes into the tent in which he meets Lionel Baratheon. And if you know anything about House Baratheon, they are the most lively bunch in the Seven Kingdoms. The Baratheons are always a mixed bag of personalities. Robert, Renly, and Stannis were 3 completely different dudes, but all of them seem to like have like some type of bromance of some sort. If you really think about it, it was Robert and Ned, Stannis and Davos, Renly and Loras. So I would like to think that similar thing's gonna happen with Dunk and Lionel. And Lionel Baratheon, he tells Dunk to just be told because Dunk is slouching. He's mad insecure about himself and stuff like that. And they get into this thing in which they're dancing, and Lionel puts the Baratheon helmet on Dunk's head, which is a rarity in Game of Thrones because people usually respect the throne. But you can tell that Lionel Baratheon is just this free-spirited dude that, you know, that he's so confident in himself that he'll let Dunk wear that. So we essentially get to the next episode, and the next episode. Now, the episode 1 began with Dunk taking a dump. Gigantic. It was a flying projectile, essentially. And I was eating, and it ruined my meal. The second episode also ruined my meal because I had no idea that Sir Arlen of Pennytree had Red Dragon Thunder power between his legs. It was big, and it disturbed me because I was eating. Which now I just wait 10 minutes before I eat anything when I'm watching Game of Thrones, period, because y'all like to shock value me. So essentially, now the Targaryens show up. They're showing up to the tournament. So we see Baelor, we see Maekor, and we see Aerion Brightflame. If you watch Game of Thrones, you know who Aerion Brightflame is. Joffrey says that Joffrey spoils everything, apparently. Joffrey said that Aerion Brightflame consumed fire, and basically that led to his demise in the future or whatnot. But right now, they are essentially at the tourney, and Dunk is trying to look for somebody that knows his basically his father, so all in the Pennytree. So he's eavesdropping and stuff like that, and they see him because he's too big to hide. It's like Shaq trying to hide behind a tree. So they see Dunk, and you would think that they would be cruel to him. Well, Maekor was kind of indifferent towards him and stuff, but Baelor, he treated Dunk with respect and stuff like that. He actually remembered Alan the Pennytree because Baelor makes it a habit to remember like his enemies and all the small folk and all that. So he essentially vouches for Dunk, but he tells Dunk that he's going to have to change his shield due to the fact that that shield was Alan the Pennytree's, and he's not Alan the Pennytree's biological son, so he'll have to change his shield. Dunk goes the shield owner. He goes to Steely Pete, who's the blacksmith, and Dunk ain't got enough for it. Steely Pete basically gives him a discount essentially, but Dunk still has to sell his horse to meet ends meet. So he has a white stallion named Sweet Tooth that he had to sell, and poor Sweet Tooth. Hopefully we get to see Sweet Tooth again. But essentially now, so throughout Dunk's time in the tourney, he's been visiting this play. If you know Game of Thrones, they always have like a play. Like in season 6, Ariel's watching a play of the events of seasons 1 through 4, and in House of Dragons and Fleabottom, when Daemon and Rhaenyra was pulling up there was a play there. But the point is, there was a play, and this play is of Florian the Fool. It's basically a play about a knight who slays a dragon for a queen and stuff like that. And Dunk fancies this tall young lady named Tamji Tutul. And more or less, like, they have an interaction in which she tells him, like, the mantra from the play: all men are fools, all men are knights. The full mantra is all men are fools, all men are knights, when women are concerned, but she just tells him that part of it, essentially. So Dunk takes a liking to this woman, essentially. And now we get to another part where they actually get to see some jousting, because towards when Dunk first saw the jousting, he got really scared. He got scared because he didn't know what he was getting himself into. But now, like, it's day 2, so they kind of used to it a little bit. But now Aerion Brightflame decides to pull up, and he's about to joust against a knight. He tells the knight basically to get ready, and Aerion is a cheater because he aims for the horse and he stabs the horse, and the horse lands on the knight, breaking Sir Stephen's leg. Now Sir Stephen is on the floor with a broken leg. The small folk are going crazy. They're throwing stuff at Aerion and stuff like that. They have to put down the horse, all that. Now Dunk is confused that Aerion, why would Aerion do that? He's Targaryen, he's a prince, he's a knight like that. Dunk is he's so innocent. I love Dunk. He's so innocent. He's even more innocent than Daenerys, Jon Snow, Rhaenyra. He makes those people look evil. That's how good and innocent Dunk is. I love Dunk. And I wouldn't say evil in Jon Snow's case, but Jon Snow's more hearted than him. It's even before he went to the wall, because he had to deal with Lady Catelyn and stuff like that. All right, I'm getting off topic, but the point is, Dunk talks to I think his name was Ryman Fossaway. I gotta look up these characters' names again, but he talks to the lad, and he's like, I don't know why he would do that. Like, I don't know why he would cheat like that. And he says, and I love this part. This part actually made me lock in and made me actually appreciate this show for what it is, because I always wanted to see the small folks' opinion on the royals of the Seven Kingdoms, like the Targaryens and all of that. And we kind of got more of that in House of the Dragons, especially when they was throwing fish at Alicent and they made a riot in the street after Rhaenyra and gave them some food stamps. But I want to see more of the small folk, because in Game of Thrones we got to see the royal clash for 8 seasons straight. In House of Dragons we got to see that as well. But now we get to see how the small folk react to these things. And basically, Homeboy said, Dunk, what do you mean? They're blood magicers and tyrants. They dragged us into their wars without a Mont, who they didn't care about our history or our customs. The only thing a Targaryen could do is release on his wife's chest and save us all the trouble. And that was perfect. That was the chef's kiss. And then after that, Tamji Tutul, she's still doing the play, and they slay a dragon. They slay a dragon in front of a man who has dragon complex. Essentially, Aerion Brightflame sees a dragon getting killed, and he's like, no, not my blue eyes white dragon, how dare you? And he just grabs her fingers, and he breaks them, and like he's about to chastise this woman. And Egg calls Dunk. He's like, yo, Dunk, you need to do something. And Dunk puts the mitts on Arian and kicks him and stuff like that. But you're not supposed to hit the prince. Arian looked at Dunk and said, hey, yo, that was rather foolish of you. Check out his teeth. And then Egg pulled up. Egg shows up, calls the knights by name, tell them release Duncan or you'll feel the wrath of my father. Arian looks at Egg and says, hey, yo, why you cut your hair? And Egg looked back at Arian and told him, please, why would I want to look like you? I'd rather die on the surgery table. Why the gotta walk around looking like you? Nah, so he basically told him, I don't want to look like you, bro. And the episode ends, but now we get to the next episode. Now, I highly recommend, if you haven't watched episode 4, please watch it, because it literally just dropped. It's dropped today. It's not going to be on Sunday. It's currently on HBO Max as we speak. It's currently on HBO Max. So, if you haven't seen episode 4, before you continue this video, go watch it. So, the episode essentially starts with Dunk in the cell, and Egg, he brings some food for Dunk, and Dunk's basically like, hey, yo, you lied to me, bro. You lied to me. Like, you was dead ass a Targaryen this whole entire time. And Egg was like, I didn't lie to you. I was supposed to be squire by my brother, but he got lit in the tavern, and he didn't want to do nothing, so I just decided to bangs with you because you were real nigga. And Dunk was like, alright, but basically now they bring him in there and he talks to Baelor, and Baelor asks him, hey, yo, Dunk, tell me, how good a night are you? Because Dunk's in trouble. You just hit a prince. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to ever hit whoever the royal family is, and Dunk did that. So now Dunk might have to fight. So Baelor suggests that he does a trial by combat, and Arian, I hate Arian, bro. He's such a he says, let's do a trial by 7, because he doesn't want to fight Dunk directly. So he'd rather just do a trial by 7. Well, he doesn't want a champion to fight Dunk, because Dunk like as big as the mountain and stuff like that. And he doesn't want to hold that out. So now it's a trial by 7. And Fossilway's brother says he was going to fight for him and stuff. And apparently they got Lionel, they got a Lannister. I haven't seen the Lannister there. I really want to see them because I'm really interested in the original houses from the original Game of Thrones series. But Lionel was there, and he got 5 people to fight for him essentially. I say 5 because he was supposed to be 6, but he only got 5 because Fossilway betrayed him. He decided to fight for Arian because Arian said, hey, yo, if you fight for me, I'll make you a lord. So he's going to fight for Arian. And his brother did not like that. He wants to fight for Dunk. And he basically tells Dunk to knight him. And Dunk hesitates for a bit because Dunk doesn't know the words. He doesn't say that he doesn't know the words, but Lionel Baratheon, who's an empath, can clearly see that he doesn't know the words. So Lionel knights him. He says, in the name of the warrior, I charge you to be brave. In the name of the mother, I charge you to protect the innocents. Basically, he knights him. And while this is happening, and I ugly cried at this moment because Dunk, he was trying to tell people, hey, yo, I need y'all to fight for me. Please help. Is there any true knights among you? And they farted and everybody started laughing at him and they wasn't jacking him. And then you hear, now, this is something I have to say. At the beginning of this song, at the beginning of these shows, they did not play the Game of Thrones song. They played it and then they had Dunk take a crap in it, and that made me upset. But I'm glad that they did it that way. For when they played the Game of Thrones song, when Baelor Breakspear showed up, I ugly cried. I actually ugly cried. I ugly cried. It was beautiful. And I felt like we was back. I felt like we was finally back in Westeros, bro. Because Baelor Breakspear said, I'm going to fight for him. Baelor Breakspear is basically the hand of the king, brother to Maekor, uncle to Arion and Egg, essentially. And he's going to fight for Dunk. And that's where the episode essentially left off. And we about to see a trial by 7 next week. I'm just so happy that we're back in Westeros, man. It just finally feels like we're back. I haven't felt this excited since season 1 of House of Dragons. Because season 1 had me hyped. Season 2, it could be better. It wasn't the worst thing I've seen. It was better than season 8 of Game of Thrones at the very least. But, you know, I'm just happy that we're back in the world of Westeros. I really love this world. I know that people that are familiar with my channel usually know me for Power Rangers. That usually is what people come here for. But I equally like Game of Thrones just as much as I like Power Rangers. I don't love one franchise more than the other. The child in me loves Power Rangers, and the adult in me loves Game of Thrones. And they both basically mingle together, essentially to make Power Rangers Ultimate Universe, which if you're new to this channel, you can check out. It's basically a crossover series, Power Rangers, Game of Thrones, Kingdom Hearts, Yu-Gi-Oh! To name a few. It's a massive crossover series with just various different franchises. Fan project that I make on this channel. And, you know, If you have anything that you want to say about the episode or your favorite parts in the episode, feel free to put in the comment section so we can get this discussion going. And just stay safe out there. And may the power protect you. And have a wonderful day.